All right, quick and dirty system optimization for your speakers and your headphones. So what I did was a combination of reading a frequency analyzer on my phone, using my ears, and then looking at the raw frequency response online, mainly of my headphones. And the reason for that is I don't care as much about the raw frequency response of the monitors because I'm going to run a sine wave through them and I'm going to listen with my ears to see what frequencies are louder. And I'm also going to record through my phone using this frequency analyzer app that I have. And I'll be able to directly see which frequencies are like massively louder where I'm sitting. Now, you have to take the frequency analyzer data with a grain of salt because, of course, your microphone on your phone has its own frequency response as well. But when you look at the measurement I took earlier, which is right here, give me just a second. So this is over time. I'll let you listen to it and then I'll show you what it's doing. Pretty straightforward. All I did was go to Google and type in sine wave generator. And then I think I clicked on that one, but it wasn't good. Honestly, probably any of these are good. Nope. Boom, this is the one that I was on. So you just check this app out. It's called iAnalyzer Lite. It's free, hence the light. And so what I did was I started this at not 1 because my speakers can't reproduce that, but I started at about 20. And then I'm not going to play it right now. Well, I'll play it quietly. But I just started there, hit record on my app, and the light version only lets you record for 10 seconds, which is fine. And basically just did a sweep, and it looks like this. So I'm going to go ahead, take a quick screenshot of that because that was my after. So it's playing. I'll turn it up a little bit. You'll be able to hear. And record. Ooh, I could feel it, dude. That's weird. I could feel it in my headphones for sure. So here's what it's like. Okay, and I went to about 500 hertz. You don't have to go all the way up because the higher you go up, the less that those modes, those standing waves, are going to really make a big impact. They're going to be smaller. The big ones are the ones you have to worry about because they can be very large in the room, and they're also going to have a much bigger discrepancy in terms of amplitude between the different frequencies. So, for instance, with me, I have a massive peak at about 132, I can see on here. And I double checked with my ears, with my headphones off, and made sure with the, as I swept back and forth in that area, I can hear in my room, which you probably won't be able to hear there, but I can hear in my room, like, yes, there is definitely a resonance where I'm sitting there, and I've noticed that before, so I can trust that. And so what I do is I go on this app, and it'll tell me what the relative amplitude in dB SPL is, so it's 87.7 dB. And then all I do is continue to look at those sound waves and compare it to somewhere else that is maybe a little bit quieter. So for instance, I have a trough over here at about 155, and it is at 80 dB. So that is a difference of, what did I say a moment ago? That it was at 87. So that's a difference of 7 dB between these really loud frequencies that are building up where I'm sitting and of a frequency that's likely getting canceled out where I'm sitting. So that's something that I definitely want to take care of. So what I do then is, sorry, man, I was talking and I had it on the screen, but here I am. So what I do is head over to my, here we go. So head over to my interfaces routing software, which has a little bit of onboard DSP. It is nothing crazy. It is very, very simple. On mine in particular, it just has a 3-band EQ. And so I went to one in particular that just completely does not happen where I'm sitting, is about 90. It's really like 80 to 100 hertz, which sucks. It's a very null frequency where I'm sitting. And then got that 132, and then roughly double that. I just used my ears and found where I felt like it was loudest in both. So it's about 130 and 260, and just cut those by 8 dB and 5 dB respectively, I think, if my eyes are telling me the truth. And then boosted that lower, like 90, with a little bit wider of a bell, just to compensate for that spot that is not reproducing those frequencies very well. So that's a lot of information. And then for the headphones, a quick and dirty way of doing that, again, onboard DSP, unless you have an outboard multi-band EQ, like 31-band EQ or something like that, then I recommend getting an interface that has like just a very basic level of onboard DSP. There's, of course, also sonarworks available. It'll run system-wide and help to correct your headphones. It'll help to correct your monitors. And I think it is only like $250, and you don't even necessarily have to buy the reference mic that comes with it, because there's several reference mics floating around Lubbock, so you could just do that. But for the headphones, it is even easier than that. All I did for these is look up the frequency response, which I will go to now. So here it is on artings.com. I love this website. I spent a long time researching headphones on here, and I'm about to get some new open back headphones actually, but that's beside the point. Right now, I have a couple pairs of Sennheiser HD 280 Pro headphones. I have just always used these headphones. They were my first pair of headphones, so I just bought another pair because I was familiar with them. So I come down to the raw frequency response, which is here. And as you can see, they do have a really good rating for bass accuracy, so that's wonderful. However, I can notice, and especially if I click on that and zoom in, there's a pretty big discrepancy between about 167 and then down to the lows like 30, 35, 38. Basically, I would say 30 to 40. There's quite a big dip here at 164. And then also you can see there's a pretty steep drop off in the highs starting. It starts to get wonky, honestly, around 3K. And then there's a dip around 4. It's kind of flat, but not really. There's a spike at 8, and then it just starts to really trail off. So I did a quick and dirty thing on the EQ. I know it's really tiny. I'm sorry about that. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Just real quick. Oh, I know how to do it. Ta-da. Okay, a little awkward here. It doesn't react to the resolution of my screen, but you can see it. So what I did was I bumped up that 168-ish by 5 dB so that I would get a little bit more, I guess you would say, punch from certain things like the kick and the bass. I have the low lows. That's great. I love these headphones for that, but I am definitely missing that kind of warmth and punch there. So I boosted that by about 5 dB. And then at the moment, I have a very mild shelf starting at 5.1K, so about 5K on these, and it just goes up by 3.5 dB. I just used my ears for that. I just added a little bit of sparkle back into the music with that, and those are all running on the output, the headphone output. And actually, I'm going to copy it over to my second headphone output over here since they're also HD 280s. And then I have the slightly compensated low-end frequency curve on my mains, which are my JBL LSR 308s. And that's how I do it. It's kind of a quick and dirty way, but man, it's already made a big difference. I can get really nice low lows off these speakers, but after I saw that 80 to 100 hertz was virtually just gone, that made a lot of sense with some of the results that I had been getting from my mixes. And also with these headphones tend to sound very boomy and kind of just like a little bit muffled. So when I just kind of compensated for that and added back in that about 160, 200, kind of in that region, just a little bit, and then also added just a nice mild, or I guess this way, nice mild high shelf to that, it just brought back some of the sparkle. So it isn't perfect, but it definitely helps to compensate for the shortcomings that these particular headphones have, and then the particular shortcomings that my room has in conjunction with these monitors, which, like pretty much all home studios and smaller rooms, they're all in the low frequencies. And these panels that I've built are wonderful. They do a really good job. I have a couple bass traps that are in the corners in the front that you can't see that are extremely deep. They're like 24 or 36 inch triangles. They're big. They're some big, thick boys, and they do a great job. But I don't have any tuned bass traps, so I still struggle with certain modes, and I know where they're at. Like I said, it's actually 61, or I'm sorry, it's what would that be? 65-ish, and then 130, 260. Basically that. If you go down to 30, you can hear another one that happens as well. I just know it's there. I'm just happy to be able to reproduce 30 hertz and be able to hear that, and I just kind of leave it alone. If I had a more in-depth equalizer, then I would definitely do more to compensate for all those different buildups and cancellations. And I've thought about getting sonarworks, but to be honest with you, I don't like the idea of it running system-wide. And then, well, I do like that idea. Love it running system-wide. Like, optimize everything. I love that. But then you have to turn it off right before you bounce your tracks on Pro Tools or whatever DAW you use. And there are just some things like that that I don't super love about it. And I don't know. I'm still on the fence about trying it, and I have tried it before, and I was like, yeah, it does what it says it does. But excuse me. When things change my workflow, then I am very apprehensive about doing them, because workflow is kind of the most important thing that there is. It's one of my top priorities in terms of projects and stuff, because for a long time I had subpar gear, and so my workflow was like sit down and feel creative and then become discouraged for the next 3 hours because none of my stuff works the way I want, or something stopped working and I have to update the drivers or whatever. So workflow is very precious to me, and I am finally at a point where I have a workflow and can rely on that. So anytime that there's something that is going to add or change something to that, I'm always, I just approach it cautiously is all. So I hope that this quick little video, I don't know that it's been that quick, but hope this little video has been helpful. and that you learned something, and that maybe that thing is that room optimization and system optimization and tuning is not out of your reach for most people, whether that means buying a cheap like DBX whatever stereo 31 band EQ that you can run your mains and headphones through, or if you do have some onboard DSP on whatever interface you've got, then it took me a while to even come to the realization that I could use the EQ on the outputs. And once I did, I was like, oh, this sounds great. I would do it to, I have a 58 around here. I would do it on the way in with 58s. I would add a little bit of top end and also cut some of the low end and just make it sparkle a little bit more and just be a little bit more efficient, because we don't need like the low lows in the voice usually, so to be intelligible and heard. But I just never thought about doing that on the way out. And actually Derek Bowl was the one that was like, hey, did you try this? I was like, no, I guess I'm an idiot. So I tried it and it works great. It isn't perfect, but nothing is perfect. And this at least gets me closer to continuing to focus on the music while also edging me just a little closer to that consistency and that reliability on my system, where I can trust what I'm hearing in my room and it will translate well elsewhere. So hope that helps, and I will talk to you later. Thanks.